What is up, everyone? This is Magigoddess back at you with another reading. I just made a couple of decks while I've been gone. This one's called Latin Phrases. I put all these emojis because people have a lot of emotions when it comes to the Latin language, learning languages, and Latin phrases in general. And then I have a little bat, and I also have Nightmare Before Christmas little stickers because it is a language technically of the dead. So that's the first deck, and this is the stone it chose. Now the second deck that I have made is this help deck, and on the back of it are just some suggestions, and this is actually a card deck that was given to me from someone who went to Vegas. They asked me what I wanted. I told them I wanted a real pack of cards from Sin City themselves. So this is the other deck, my help deck. Alright, and this is the stone that is associated with that deck. Alright. What I'm noticing is one is very dark and one is very light. So you could be someone who has a tendency to be very dark or very light in nature, or you have a tendency to clash with people or just feel really different from people. That's a quick energy I'm getting from your stone. Alright, we have piles number 1, number 2, and number 3. And if you're curious what these are poems that we've chosen for your reading. So, are you number 1, number 2, or number 3? Ask yourself real quick, 1, 2, 3, which one is true for me? And if you want, say which one is true for me right now. And just choose the one your eyes go to first and stay on for like a second, or just pick the first one you see when you say that. That way your body can choose before your mind tries to, I don't know, wiggle in there. So we'll start off with first I have right here on the very bottom, issues you've already had in the past, advice for those issues, or Latin phrases that could apply. And then these are ways that you were able to get over those, to see if, you belong in this collective or not. So, issues you've had to deal with are personal issues, life patterns, and clarify. I'm kind of getting a vibe of figuring out who you are in this world in general, like who you are as a person, and kind of how you view yourself has been a big problem of yours. And then we have, if I don't use Latin pronunciation, well, forgive me, I have not practiced Latin. I just saw these phrases, fell in love, I found them on Pinterest, and I was like, I really want to make cards of these. So yeah, we have ars longa vita brevis. Art is long, life is short. So maybe you found that you were more creative than other people, and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna be creative and do my own thing. It's okay if I'm different from others, and I don't have to understand everything about myself. Life is short. You shouldn't waste it on questioning yourself all the time, or why aren't you like everyone else. That's really kind of the vibe I'm getting. And then we have amantium array amoris integratio est. The quarrels of lovers are the renewal of love. So every time something goes wrong, there is an opportunity of that, and something new comes from that. Something changes. The only thing consistent in life is change. And then how you solve these problems, we have study, we have impersonal, and organizations. Yeah, I feel like you studied the world around you and started taking it less personally. I really do. And I think you realize that you have your own way of doing things and you don't have to do them like everyone else. So if that sounds like you, this reading is for you. Now, are you number 1, number 2, number 3? I'm just going to put those away. Actually, we'll put these away in a different space where I have more room. Alright. Put number 2 down here. Number 2 didn't want to go. Alright. Number 1. I think I'll do the poems last. Alright, number 1. Let's get into your reading. So, let's see what... First, I'm going to see what problem you're having. It's just going to be like the collective reading, essentially. What problem you're having, what advice you can have, and how to really help you. Okay, let's try and get you some answers and then that at the end. So first we have quiz. Maybe you're always questioning yourself, always questioning things. Ethics, maybe questioning your morals, other people's morals. And then we have class. Maybe you're taking an ethics I was gonna say maybe you're taking an ethics class, but I'm more so getting like maybe people who are culturally different from you, maybe you have a hard time understanding them sometimes, like why people do things a certain way. Like, for example, some places, you know, they're communist and some places aren't. Maybe you wonder why sometimes people choose to live in a communist place and have everyone tell them what to do versus, you know, any kind of true freedom. You could be thinking about that. It's kind of the vibe I'm getting. And then your advice is Inse petit placidum sub libertates quietum. Like I said, not great at Latin. And that translates to, with the sword she seeks peace under liberty. So you want to see the truth. Wow, that's so crazy. I was talking about freedom versus not being free, and this talks about freedom. So you're like, why don't they free themselves? Some people don't see themselves as caged. Some people legitimately like to be told what to do. Everyone has their own way of life, you know? We have Dum Spiro Sparrow, while I breathe, I hope. So maybe people stay in institutions like this because they hope that they can help change it. Have you ever considered that maybe people stay in countries like that or do certain things, stay in certain religions or certain bad situations because they want to promote change in it one day? Kind of like how back in the day there were never any women on the back of set when it came to like movies and stuff like that, and now women are becoming more integrated as like directors and people on set. Like you see a lot more women on sets of movies nowadays instead of it just being all men in the background. It's very similar. Like people didn't just quit acting, they kept going, and eventually the system is slowly we're learning things, we're growing, so there's been some kind of progress. So maybe you're not seeing that these people have hope in this situation, even though you view it as hopeless. And then to help you with this situation, we have theory. Maybe you should consider different theories when it comes to whatever it is that you're confused about. And then we have tone. When it comes to others, really look at the tone in their life and the tone of yours. And what I mean by that is, like, when you view people Are you viewing them harshly or lightly? Are you emphasizing on them too much or emphasizing on yourself too much? Tone usually applies to how loud or how soft. In this situation, I would say how harsh or how kind are you when it comes to others and the way that they see things. And then lastly, we have directions. Yes, everyone has their own direction in life, including you. And even though you may not see the direction, it doesn't mean it's not there. It doesn't mean things won't happen. Just because you see it, it doesn't mean it's not true. So that's what I have for that. And then your poem. You feel like a very factual person to me, if I'm honest. We have these beautiful flowers. And then for your poem, The Light Gatherer by Carol Ann Duffy. When you were small, your cupped palms each held a candle's worth under the skin, enough light to begin. And as you grew, light gathered in you, 2 clear raindrops in your eyes, warm pearls, shy, in the lobes of your ears, even always the light of a smile after your tears. Your kissed feet glowed in my one hand, and I'd enter a room to see the corner you played in lit like a stage set. The crown of your bowed head spotlit. When language came, it glittered like a river, silver, clever with fish. And you slept, with the whole moon held in your arms for a nightlight, where I knelt watching. What I'm gaining from this is you could be a light worker who maybe wants to help everyone and, help people rebirth themselves, reinvent themselves, and you want to show them the light in things. But you must consider that your light may be someone else's darkness. And what I mean by that is, I'll use the same example. Let's go with the whole communism thing. Let's say you want to free these people, right? Well, let's say you go to free these people and give them a new life, and they just go back to everything it was they'd known because they thought they didn't need rescuing. Your biggest thing is, before you try to rescue or help someone, make sure they need help or rescuing, okay? And that might sound kind of asinine, like, what if they don't know they need help? You can't help someone unless they want it. And I had 1313 on the timer for that. So that's what I have for you. Number 1, many blessings. Interesting, number 2. I went to pause your reading, and then I suddenly got a call. It's like I knew I was going to get a call. So I really feel like you're doing things, but your mind isn't understanding them because intuitively you're doing it. Your body is doing it before you have to tell it how to do it. Like, a good affirmation for you would be, I love my body because it always does what it needs to, whether I tell it to or not, or even if I'm not even conscious of what my body needs, my body does exactly what it needs. Your body is like a milestone. Number 2, your intuition is a milestone. And I actually got a voicemail, so I'm gonna take that as confirmation. Like, your angels and your guides really want you to know. So that's the first message. I was gonna say, first we're gonna see what you need help with, your advice, and then how to help you, and then your little poem right here. So I didn't mean to move that. That's so weird. Yeah. I guess my body wanted it out of the way, but thinking about it, I'm like, no, I want to keep that there so people, if I forget to do the timestamps, they can see the little 2 rather than look for my little peace sign too. Sometimes that's easier. That's one of the reasons why I decided to do that. All right, so what do you need help with? We have position. Maybe you don't like your position in life. You have raising. Maybe you've had issues with the ways you were raised. And pursue. So your issue. I feel like even though sometimes you don't like things, you may not always do something about it because you ask yourself, what is this gonna do to me? How's it gonna affect me? I really feel like you're a very logical person, and maybe sometimes that stops you. It's kind of the vibe I'm getting. I think you're very intuitive, but I feel like you let your mind get in the way sometimes, just because your reality may not always match your feelings. That doesn't make them less valid. Wow, I almost couldn't get that out. Maybe you don't validate yourself enough, or maybe you don't feel validated enough because of your parents. Like, I'm getting 2 different situations. So that was the first one about your intuition. The second one was I'm kind of sensing some issues about how no one's ever really validated you, and maybe you haven't even fully validated yourself. Maybe sometimes you still question your intuition, even when it's shown you time and time again you're right. Just know it's okay to question yourself. And it's okay to use logic, but don't let that stop you from making a change that's like made you unhappy for a long period of time, okay? And don't let anybody tell you what position to be in, how to raise yourself, or how to pursue your goals. That's like a big thing. So your advice: Alice volat pro pris. He flies by his own wings. Yeah, exactly. You're meant to go your own way. Yeah, and be your own creature of nature. It's kind of the vibe I'm getting. And then we have experiential docet. Experience teaches. It does. The longer you're alive, the more you learn. And it's okay not to know everything. It's okay to have questions. The whole point of life is being curious and exploring. Despite the ups and downs, you can still be happy. Even if things don't go your way, it's not rejection, it's redirection. It's divine protection. There's reasons why you're not meant to do certain things, and maybe sometimes you get stuck in your head as to why certain things happen. Okay, and to help you out, we have course, we have participating, and discussion. Okay, so the issues you're having, see if there's some kind of coursework out there, or some kind of exercise, or something you can participate in to discuss with others. I kind of feel like you should look for either people who think like you do, or have similarities to you do, or just like, let's go back to the intuition thing. I'll use that as an example. Like, let's say you're confused about your intuition. Well, I would look up a course on getting to know yourself. I would look up a course on honing in on your intuition. As for like participate in fun games where you question your intuition. I actually have a video on here, a YouTube video on it's an intuition game. And if I'll remember, I'll pause this so I'll remember to put the link in my description box just for you. Number 2, 1 second. Mind you, this 1 second won't affect you. I just paused it and unpaused it. But if it's your intuition, I really feel like it's your intuition. I really feel like the universe wants you to trust your intuition more than anything. So I can at least help you with a little game, and that way you could play your own little intuition games. In fact, if you don't want to click the link, what you can do is put a bunch of random objects in a box. Don't look, grab it, hold it in your hand, and try to guess psychically what it is. And if you're even the least bit close, just know you're more in tune with your intuition than you think. And if you get it completely wrong, ask yourself why you're not as in tune to yourself as you would like to be. So that's a good way for you to have your own intuition test, and it's very similar to the one that I gave if you don't feel like watching the video or doing that. But yeah. Alright, now your poem. Alright. So we have this beautiful valley with some flowers, all these trees. You could be someone who loves nature. I've heard it in the chilliest land. So maybe you could be kind of cold to things you don't understand, or really warm to things that really show you what's beautiful in life. Interesting. Or maybe sometimes you can't see the beauty in things other people do about yourself. That's like an added message. Alright, we have Hope by Emmanuel Carnevale. Tomorrow will be beautiful, for tomorrow comes out of the lake. And something I want to say to you, number 2, as a final note, is everything in life can be beautiful because you are beautiful and you are the one that creates that beauty. So know you're the creator of your own reality, and just keep that in mind when you get a little lost in thought, because sometimes you might create more issues for yourself than you had before. Like maybe you go from not understanding this to not understanding like a whole lot of things, and possibly getting overwhelmed. So I really hope that helps you. And number 2, this is what I have for you. Many blessings. Number 3. Sorry, I wanted to hurry up and get this message out. Well, right before I went to your pile, I was hearing that song, The Hills Are Alive, with the sound of music. So maybe you could like singing, or maybe you like that movie. I personally wasn't a fan of that movie, but that's just because I don't really like movies that depress me. I'm a really sensitive person. If I watch a movie that's sad, I will cry like a big fat baby. And it's cool if it's part of my inner work, but I'm not gonna watch something for entertainment that's gonna make me sad. Some people, you know, they find it motivational. I just get really depressed and I have a hard time coming out of it. You can either relate to that or you can't. Like, I've even told my family, don't send me sad songs. I'll cry, I'll be depressed, and I'll have to listen to a bunch of songs. Like, maybe you're someone who can easily be emotional when it comes to other people's issues on TV, whatever, even if they're not real. Like, when I watch documentaries, I watch them because I want to learn more about people, but I also have a tendency to cry because issues will come up, but at least I know I won't be sad the whole time. And yeah, the ending of Sound of Music was good, but all the struggle in between is really sad. And if you've never seen that movie, if you don't like musicals, just read the plot line or read the summarization. I would give that to you, but I feel like if you look into it yourself, you'll find an understanding of yourself that's very interesting. So now, very interesting. Lots coming through for you, number 3. So we have your poem. First, we're going to do what you need help with, some advice, and how to help you, okay? I do feel like you are a delicate person, if I'm honest. I feel like sometimes people have to be delicate with you, and maybe you don't like it. Like maybe you want to rip off the band-aid, but emotions are beautiful. Your emotions mean you're meant to feel and connect. And without connection, there would never be love. There would never be touch. And things would never get done because no one would feel anything or have ideas, or like, you need to view your feelings and your emotional ways as inspiration rather than an issue. Like, I've learned that. I'm like, as long as I stay away from like certain ways of doing things, I'll be fine. Like, don't listen to sad stuff, don't do sad stuff on purpose. I'm fine, you know, and I'm okay. And if that does happen on accident, I find ways to help myself by like, oh, I watched a sad movie, now let me watch like a funny movie, and then let me watch like a happy little kids movie, and then until I feel better, to get myself in that other mindset. I think maybe you have trouble pulling yourself out of those ways, so when you do something, just like find a way to do the opposite thing to try and help yourself, if that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, I hope my example of watch a sad movie, watch some happy movies, some comedies to get you feeling better. Alright. If you don't watch movies, just use that example and run with it. Alright, issues. We have style. We have abstract. We have personality. Some of you can really connect with people, and some of you always feel disconnected from others. You might want to look into whether or not you have like a dissociative personality disorder. What I mean by that, a disassociation, the best way I can describe it is I have dissociation issues from trauma, a lot of trauma in my life, and it's really hard to get rid of the dissociativeness because I have like ADHD or whatever. I'm not here to tell you all my issues. I'm just saying, like, I've had it so I can explain it easily as like a background reference. I didn't know I was dissociative. I didn't even know what that was. I just knew I would be extremely upset or feel an extreme emotion, and then I would just shut off. I'd feel nothing. And I would think nothing. Like, you literally go from feeling everything to being completely numb. So some of you shut down. Others of you are wondering why you're so different. And you wish people would be more understanding of your differences. And I'm also getting, for others of you, you need to be more understanding of your differences. Okay, wow. Pile number 3, we have 3 different ways of being. Interesting. Now, for your advice, we have Litera Scripta Mene. The written letter lasts. So, I'm kind of getting from this, you could consider writing letters to yourself or writing a journal to yourself about, you can say, and write it like you're writing it to a friend. Say, dear friend, and tell them all your feelings, all your experiences, all your emotions. Okay. And put it away until like the next day and read it and see how you're feeling that day. See if you're still feeling the same, or see if you can see why you felt a certain way. I feel like that could help you, or just writing down your issues and asking yourself, why is this an issue to me? And then figuring out, well, how can I make it not an issue anymore? And that doesn't mean just choose not to care. That doesn't mean just disassociate with it. It just means learn it so you can understand it, so it doesn't trouble you anymore. That's really the vibe that I'm getting. Alright, we have Exego Ami non ut optimus par some said ut males melior. This is actually my longest one. I require myself not to be equal to the best, but to be better than the bad. Yeah. You don't have to be the best at everything. You don't have to have everything figured out. But as long as you are trying your best, as long as you're trying to improve, as long as you're trying to be better and better your life, it doesn't matter how people view you. What matters is how you view yourself. You don't have to be anything, but just try to do something a little more for yourself to grow and progress and to feel powerful and like you know yourself better, you understand the situation better. And then help, we have critique, apply, and case. Alright, so maybe you should look into certain cases of issues people have had, whether that be like psychological, whatever. There are case files that people put out there, like medically. Just look up whatever issue that applies to you. Like, for example, if you had a dissociative disorder, like I just mentioned, you type in dissociative disorder cases, look at the issues within it, and then apply whatever knowledge you learn about it to your situation and yourself. And if nothing else, really look at your situation, see how you're viewing it. Is it a fact? Are you being positive? Are you being negative? Are you being realistic? Are you being unrealistic? And then just apply your real life knowledge to whatever or however you view yourself or whatever situation. For some of you, I'm kind of getting like maybe it's certain situations. For some of you, I'm getting it's you, yourself, and you. And for some of you, I'm getting it's others. And then the very fourth example is it's literally all of the above. So hopefully you find that helpful. Now your poem. On this side, we have this beautiful forest. Maybe you get lost in your own forest of knowledge sometimes, and you just need to remember it's beautiful and it's colorful if you let it be. But if you get too lost, remember, you can always come out. Alright, and then for your poem, we have a courage so sublime and unafraid. Yes, I have the courage to be myself. I have the courage to feel things, and I have the courage to face things I don't like about myself because I want to be the best me I can possibly freaking be. And yeah, it's hella scary, and yeah, I might not like it, but I'm so proud of myself for the courage that I have. I am so sublime and unafraid, and people will view me as fearless and amazing, and they'll be like, how did you do that? And then just say, I just believed in myself and I had the courage that I could do it. And if you have support, that's great. And if you don't, that's okay. I'm someone who in my life hasn't always had support. At one point in my life, I was kind of homeless. Actually, just straight up homeless. And everybody has their own situations. And I went from literally someone who felt like they didn't have anything to live for and thought they were a useless member of society to the complete opposite. I have everything to live for, and I'm a beautiful person with a beautiful heart who wants to help people with their own issues and their own struggles that they've dealt with. And if I can use my life experience or experiences or my spiritual family on the other side to help them, why the hell not? Instead of not having a purpose and just walking through life, I created a brand new life just because I wanted to try. All you have to do is try. Remember that. Just trying is courage. Like, you don't have to be super courageous. Put one foot in front of the other. Like, I'm getting that. I think it's from the Christmas movie, Rudolph the one from a long time ago where it's like stop motion animation. They're like, put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking across the floor. Put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking out the door. It's very true. All it takes is one foot in front of the other, one finger in front of the other. Just try one little baby step. You don't have to, like, let's say you can't swim and you're terrified of swimming. I love swimming. When I was a kid, my dad's way of teaching me to swim was to throw me in the deep end, and if I drowned a little, just keep trying till I get to the side. Thankfully I did not drown. Thankfully I did learn to swim. What's funny is after that he put me in swim lessons. I guess he thought my drowned dog paddle wasn't good enough, but you know, that's his problem, not mine. I was just happy all the water was out of my nose and I survived, but that's just me. Instead of my dad, you know, just throwing me in there and just doing it, maybe you're the kind of person who might throw yourself into things that way, and then you scramble and you're like, oh, what do I do? Why did I give myself all this? Just, you know, try one thing at a time. See if you can have swim classes. Ask your friend who swims really, really well if they can teach you. Get little arm floaties and try to learn how to dog paddle in the pool, and get in a really shallow end and just practice doggy paddling. If you don't know what doggy paddling is, look at how a doggy swims. That's literally doggy paddling, and you can stay afloat the same way. Now, there are all kinds of different ways to swim. You can look up YouTube videos, how to swim. If you don't have money for an instructor, or if you don't have a friend, and I know how to swim because I learned lessons, this, that, and the other. So if you have like a question about swimming, I could answer it. And if you were to ask me how I felt about my dad throwing me in the deep end, if I'm honest, as a child, I thought nothing of it because I was used to my dad being that way to me. But now as an adult, I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, what a psychopath. Like, why would you do that? And some people are like, oh, you're fine, you survived. And I'm like, but what if I didn't? What if my dad just threw me in the deep end and walked away? Because my dad had a tendency to do that. And I always tell people I no longer have a dad because at a certain age, I disowned him. And he wants me in his life, but I had a real conversation with him. I talked to him. I asked him about all the issues we had, and, you know, why couldn't he be kind, or this, that, and the other. And he didn't bother to say sorry, or I made you feel that way. He wasn't empathetic, sympathetic. He was just like, I did the best I could. And looking back now as a spiritual person, I really do see he was doing the best he could because his family was like that. It's unfortunate that he never, you know, wanted to change or get help, but it's not my job to do that. And it's not my job to change him. And I realized this person doesn't want to improve. This person will always stay the same. They really think they're doing their best even when they're hurting someone, and I don't agree with that. So I'm just gonna walk away rather than struggle and deal with this with someone who's never really listened to me, or someone I felt never really loved me because they were willing to risk my life, or make me feel like I'm not important, or not to even take the time to teach me himself. You know, just learn it on your own. I had to. And I was like, that you don't have to do that. You don't have to do things the same way as others, and that's okay. And I want you to always remember that. I know that was a really long personal story of mine, not to overshare, not to give you TMI, but I just wanted to show you a very real example of how, you know, you can be in a life-threatening situation and you can just be thrown into it and feel nothing, and then look back and go, oh my God. Or you could, you know, be put in a really small situation and compare it to a big situation and realize maybe this one isn't so bad. So that's what I have for you, number 3. I almost said number 1. That's funny. Many blessings. One, two, three. Many blessings to you all. Love and Magigoddess. Look forward to the next one.